Hello and welcome. Come meet me on your mat for this class that will help release any tension or tightness from your low back. So once you come to your mat, we're going to start in a tabletop position on all fours, hands and knees. So you do come to all fours, land your shoulders above your wrists, your hips above your knees, and spread your fingertips and your thumbs out nice and wide. A cat-cow to warm up your spine. An inhale will lift your chin to the sky, your belly drops to the floor. And your exhale rounds your spine, you tuck your chin, you tuck your hips underneath you. And then find a few flows just like that, and arch on your inhale as you look up. Around on your exhale as you look to your knees. And then just find a few more breath to movement, articulating the spine through extension and flexion. And really feeling if you can incorporate the movement of your pelvis, your shoulders, your head, and your neck along with each one of your vertebrae. And you can really feel into where the movement feels most prominent, where it feels most easy, where there might be any constriction or anything like that. Just a few more cycles. Just one more. Breath to movement. And then come back to a nice neutral long spine after that last round. And then child's pose, your big toes are touching, your hips rock back to your heels. And you just round your spine as you elongate your fingertips to the top of your mat and forehead to the floor. And just take a few moments to see if you can bring your breath to the back body, specifically the back ribs. And that little bit of space between your lower floating ribs and the top of your hip crease. Finding some decompression as you send the breath there. Good. And then move back forward to tabletop position, all fours, hands and knees. Take a quick downward facing dog. Toes will tuck and knees will lift away from the mat. Your hips turn up to the sky. Now keep a soft bend into your knees. You might want to pedal one heel to the floor and then the other. Just giving our body some time to warm up. Of course, low back pain or low back stiffness can come from many different areas. That could be tight hamstrings, tight hips, tight shoulders. So we want to make sure that the whole body is being included when we target these specific areas of tension or need. You're slowly going to start to walk your feet in towards the middle of your mat. A forward fold will land you so your hips are above your heels. Let your back really round in this shape. You might want to hold opposite elbows as well for a deeper hanging effect or dangling effect. Keep those soft bent knees. Keep your breath flowing. And just really feel into the goodness of this stretch. Really nice. Fingertips float to floor, soft bend into your knees, begin to round and roll your way up towards stand, vertebra at a time. Your bones stack, nice and slow you rise. As the head lifts, bring your arms overhead as well. And then catch a hold of your right wrist in your left hand. Lengthen your wrist upward on your inhale, and then side bend over to the left as you exhale, pulling your wrist up and over. Keep a soft bend into both of your knees, and then start to pull your right wrist to the top left corner of your mat. You'll feel length on the right side of your spine, maybe underneath your right armpit around the lat region. And you'll just pause to breathe whenever that sensation shows up for you. Keep tugging your wrist forward as you slide your right hip backward and bring a few breaths into the side of your spine, the side of your waist. Really nice. Come out the same way you came in, over to the left, rise up through center. Just switch your wrists, hold your left wrist in your right hand, lengthen upward, inhale. Side bend over to the right, exhale. Stay leaning, keep a soft bend into your knees, and then pull your left wrist to the top right corner of your mat. It's not a big movement, just a tugging diagonally forward. And then as you continue to tug forward, your right hip slides back. And you'll find this nice sensation running up the left side of your spine, maybe underneath the left armpit. Full cycles of breath, slow and steady. Come out the same way you came in, over to the right, up through center. And then as you exhale, swan dive forward, fold to your mat, fingertips to the floor. Find a full breath in and a slow breath out. Place your hands down onto the mat, step back to a downward facing dog, hips hike up, take a breath in right there. And then as you exhale, lower both of your knees to the mat, to that tabletop position, bum to heels, and then just sit your weight over to one side so your legs swing out in front of you. With both of your legs long, you're going to bring your right leg out to the side, and then the sole of your left foot comes to your inner right thigh. Flex your right toes up. Bring your right forearm to the inside of your right leg. Your left hand is on your hip. Now take your gaze up and past the left shoulder, like you're leaning your left shoulder behind you. Ground further into your left hip. And then if it continues to feel good, add your left arm up and over your head, allowing fingertips to reach towards the right big toe, whether they meet it or not. And then big cycles of breath into the left side waist, down into the left hip. And then noticing if you are crunching into the right waist, your lower waist as well, and see if you can create a little bit more space through both sides of your body. So you're puffing up the breath quite a lot into both sides. We're not dumping into one side, the breath is really full. You're gonna take one more full breath in. A slow breath out. Keep your lean to the right side, but swing your left arm back up and overhead. Place your left hand on your hip. Then breathe in, neutral out your spine. Head comes upright. You're then going to turn your heart in line with your extended leg, your right leg, and you might need to square the hips off slightly. A Janu Shirshasana folds you over your right extended leg. So your nose comes to your right knee. Your hands rest on the extended leg. That can be your shin, your ankle, or your foot. And then this left hip again stays really heavy. So your left bum is on the floor. And then big cycles of breath into the left side of the spine, the left waist. Yeah, as if you're breathing space into each vertebra, each bone. Let the back of the neck be long. Notice if the initial cue in the mind is to maybe escape the shape as quickly as possible, and see if you can find a depth in the shape that you can linger and sustain in that's not creating an increase in your nervous system. We want to stay nice and calm. Good, and slowly through the next exhale, you crawl the hands in and you lift head and chest back up. Turn chest forward, square the shoulders to the top of your mat. And then your right leg now is going to lift, and you're going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Right bum is grounded, and you're hugging your right knee towards your chest, keeping spine upright and nice and tall and long. For 3, you breathe. For 2, heavy right bum to the floor. And last, full breath in. And slow breath out. Now you can choose to stay in this shape a little bit longer, or if it feels good to add on, you come to stack your knees one on top of the other. It's a Gomukhasana shape. So you're trying to turn the shoelace side, the tops of your feet down to the floor. And then it just is going to your own degree. So stacking the knees, wrapping the thighs as best as you can, that both bum cheeks can stay down grounded. And then it might feel good to hold your spine upright, or it might feel good to start to hinge from your hips and bring your nose to your top right knee. Just breathing into the outer hips, staying heavy through the tailbone. And just noticing what's felt here. Don't need to make any stories in the mind. Part of these shapes in this practice is all about just remaining as present as you can. Take one more breath in, one more breath out. And then slowly your inhale will lift your head and your chest up. Keep your bind of your legs and take a gentle twist to your right. Your left hand can be on your knee. Your right hand is going to be behind you. Find an inhale to grow the crown of your head up taller and longer. And an exhale to twist a little bit further around yourself. There's a softening in your twist, in your exhale. Really nice. Breathe in, turn your gaze forward, then unwind your twist all the way around. We'll come to the next side, so help your right leg off of your left. Send your left leg out to the side and bring the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh. Bring your left forearm to your extended leg. Start with your right hand on your hip so you can turn your gaze upward and you can feel a leaning back behind you through your top shoulder. Find your breath. And then maybe adding your right fingertips up and overhead, extending fingertips towards your left toes. And the breath is really full, really expansive into both side waists. It will feel most prominent in this long right side body. But see if you can also create a little bit of space in the lower left waist so we're not fully dumping into that side, but we can still breathe really expansively. The breath really helps us to stay present amongst the sensations or the challenges that might show up in our practice. Over the next exhale, float your right fingertips back to your right hip. Then on your inhale, rise up through a neutral spine. Janu Shirshasana, you turn your heart in line with your left extended leg. And then slowly you crawl the hands back forward, draping your belly over your left thigh, nose to knee. Let your hands rest wherever they end up. You don't need to tug yourself or force yourself down to the floor. You just breathe wherever you end up. Listen to the sound the breath makes. See if you can calm the exhales further. Take one more full breath in and out. Beautiful. You'll slowly walk the hands back in so head and chest rise. You're going to bring your left leg to cross over your right thigh. So your left sole of the foot is on the floor. Ground through both of your bum cheeks and then hug your left knee a little bit closer towards you as you elongate crown of the head upward. Soften your gaze and breathe in for 3. Let it flow out. In for 2. And out. Last one, full cycle of breath. Lovely. Feel free to add on if you want to or stay here if it feels good. If you're adding on, you are aiming to stack your knees one on top of the other. Shoelace side of your feet turned down to the mat. Maybe you give your bum a little bit of a wiggle so you ground a little bit further through the tailbone, through the hips. And then if you wish to crawl the hands forward, you drape your belly forward, you lean forward, and your nose just comes closer to your top knee. Now, if you did come forward and it's creating any tension in the knee joints, just come back upright or come back to the sole of your foot on the floor. If you're noticing your bum is lifting, find less of a hinge and use your hands to brace yourself. Back of the neck is long. You're staying, you're breathing, you're noticing. Slowly, let's rise back up, head and chest lift. Beautiful. One last twist. Your right hand is on your left knee and your left hand is behind you as you rotate behind or all the way around yourself to the left. Stay in the twist as you breathe and lengthen the crown of your head upward. And stay in your twist as you exhale. You twist a little bit further around yourself. Belly breathing, soft gaze. Your inhale turns your gaze forward. Your exhale unravels your twist. Help your left leg off of your right. Bring both feet forward. Extend them long. Flex the toes up towards the sky. To neutral out the spine, we breathe the arms up and overhead. And we exhale, lean forward, nose to knees, hands on the legs. See if you can find your breath into the back ribs, your back lungs, that space between the lower floating ribs and the top of your hips. Opening hamstrings, opening the posterior chain of the body, the back body. Your next inhale, you'll lift the head up and walk the hands in slightly. And then you're going to bend your knees so you dig your heels into the mat. You want your knees bent enough that you can hold your feet or your big toes with index finger and thumb. And then feel almost like a tugging back of your toes towards you as you push your heels down into the mat. You round your spine a lot. You tuck your tailbone underneath you. You hunch your chest or your shoulders forward, rounding chest. Really nice. Feeling that push and pull effect as you breathe into the back body. Very nice. Slowly you can rise through the head, let go of the feet. Place your hands behind you, feet are flat on the ground, and some windshield wipes of your legs from side to side just to flush all of that out. And if you close down your eyes here, just take a brief moment to check in with your body, how you feel, if any tension may have been released from your low back. And just know that you can use this video to come back to at any time. Anytime you're feeling tension in the low back or you need to release the hips. Those are just a few short poses that may help release any of that tightness. Last windshield wipe. Beautiful. I hope your low back starts to feel a little bit better as you return to some of these shapes anytime you need to. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon.